This short video was produced by the Delaware Network for Excellence in Autism team at the University of Delaware Center for Disability Studies. This tutorial has been designed to support professionals and family members who wish to teach a person with autism a new skill or task. This evidence-based practice is appropriate to use across multiple settings. Please use the following reference citation guidelines when referencing this tutorial. Today, we are going to be discussing the evidence-based practice of prompting. Prompting is an antecedent-based strategy and is delivered in conjunction with the cue in order to elicit the desired target behavior so it may be reinforced and learned over time. Prompting is faded over time, so a natural pairing occurs between the cue and the target behavior or skill. When prompting, there are several procedures you must follow. First, you will want to identify the target skill or behavior as being either discrete or chained. You will want to operationally define the target skill or behavior. If it is a chain task, you must write the task analysis and determine the chaining procedure to use. If you want to learn more about chaining procedures, check out the DNEA tutorial on task analysis and chaining. Next, you will want to select the prompting procedures you will use, as well as any reinforcers or permanent supports that may be needed. Don't forget to collect data so you may measure the efficacy of your intervention and measure the individual's learning over time. If you want to learn more about this process, we encourage you to view our Introduction to Prompting tutorial. This tutorial on the prompting procedure can be used to teach a new skill. There are 6 different types of prompting procedures. Today, we are going to focus on least to most prompting. Least to most prompting can be used to teach both discrete or chain skills. When using least to most prompting, prompts are systematically provided from the least intrusive to the most intrusive. You should have at least 3 levels of prompts, with the last prompt being a controlling prompt. A controlling prompt is guaranteed to elicit a correct response. Before teaching, you will want to select your 3 prompts and sequence them from least to most intrusive. You will also want to determine and define a latency. That is, how long you will wait for the individual to respond after you deliver the cue, after you deliver a prompt, and between each step of the chain skill. The latency is usually between 3 to 5 seconds. When you begin teaching, you begin by delivering the cue and waiting your determined latency. If the individual responds correctly before the latency period ends, you will state what they did correctly and reinforce. If the response is incorrect, you will interrupt the incorrect response and deliver the first level of prompt in the prompting hierarchy. You will continue to deliver prompts in the hierarchy until you are able to obtain a correct response that you can praise and reinforce. Here is our least to most prompting hierarchy flowchart. You can see on the left that it begins with delivering the cue and waiting your predetermined latency. If the individual responds correctly, you will reinforce them and state what the individual did correctly. If you are collecting data, record a plus on your data collection sheet. This indicates that the individual performed the skill correctly without any prompts. If the individual responds incorrectly, or if they do not respond before the latency expires, you will interrupt the incorrect response and deliver 1 level of prompting. This is your least intrusive prompt. Then, wait the latency for the individual to respond to the prompt. If they respond correctly, reinforce them and state what was done correctly. You will record the prompt and a plus sign on your data sheet. This indicates that the individual responded correctly to your prompt. If the individual responds incorrectly, or if no response is given, you should interrupt them again and deliver level 2 of prompting. This will be a more intrusive prompt that is more likely to get a correct response. Again, wait the latency. If the individual responds correctly to level 2 of prompting, reinforce the individual, state what they did correctly, and record the prompt and a plus sign on your data sheet. If their response is incorrect, you will deliver the final level of prompting. This will be your controlling prompt and will guarantee a correct response. You should mark the prompt and a plus sign on your data sheet. If you would like more details on using least to most prompting, check out our resource guide. Ben is learning how to wash his hands. You begin by providing the initial cue of wash your hands. If Ben begins to wash his hands correctly after 3 seconds, you reinforce him with social praise for completing the first step of the chain and wait for him to begin the second step, getting his hands wet. If he does not begin to wash his hands, you interrupt his response and gesture to the faucet to remind him to turn on the water to begin to wash his hands. If he does not respond correctly to this prompt, you can increase to a verbal prompt and say, turn on the faucet. If he does not respond correctly again, use the controlling prompt and model how to wash your hands. Once he turns on the faucet, wait for him to complete step 2, which is getting his hands wet. If he does not complete this step independently, repeat the process beginning with a level 1 prompt. Least to most prompting is beneficial because it is a self-fading prompting procedure. That is, you do not need to plan a fading procedure for prompting. An individual's ability to respond to the prompts dictates what level of prompting they will receive. As the individual becomes more and more independent, less intrusive prompts are needed until no prompts are needed at all. The DNEA helps the community stay informed by developing and distributing information and resources on issues that impact people with autism, their families, and the professionals who serve them. For additional resource guides, videos, and glossary of terms, please visit our website. Professionals are encouraged to visit our website or contact us for additional resources and support.